Holy shit. She's infected.
Hi, this is Buster Graham, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFXTV. I'm the Wrestle Gamer. Don't be bully Bujo. Got a few people to introduce you to. First off, he is our resident music mogul from YouTube.com/LanceMossTV. He is the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
From the bowels of the Hudat Temple, where homeless people from the IWC come to worship pictures of Oksana with ducks, it's James from the Big Easy. James, how you doing?
Number one, the corporation has rised again, and number two, I'm sending you to the Nick Bonish Chair Shot School.
And ladies and gentlemen, the purveyor of tacos are on the hood on Instagram. He's the Bay Area MVP, known as Will. Will, what's up?
After what Fandango did, all I gotta say is, are those sneakers still up for sale?
And ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple of guests to introduce you to here. Some guys who watch Monday Night Raw as well. First off, our first guest, Jaden. Jaden, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jaden from London, England. How's it going?
And we also have Lambo is here. Lambo, how you doing?
Pretty good, buddy. Raw was pretty sweet tonight.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Monday Night Raw, the follow-up show from SummerSlam for the week of August 19th, 2013. And we open up with John Cena coming out. And let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen. I've said it time in and time out. I hate Cena haters. Cena haters have absolutely no freaking idea about how the wrestling industry actually works. You know, John Cena does tremendous charity work. He is the face of the company for a reason. He is your top merchandise seller. And the only legitimate reason you Cena haters out there can give for hating Cena is because, he's stale, he's boring, his gimmick never changes. The Undertaker's gimmick never changed for years and years. In fact, when he changed his gimmick, he hated it and went back to the dead man gimmick. Telling you right there that sometimes you fans who hate other people's gimmicks don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay? But now let's get to what happened on Monday Night Raw. I just had to say my piece out there because Cena haters in this promo kind of pissed me off. Because in fact, John Cena made the announcement that he had to take time off to have surgery on that mutant life form that was growing on the left arm. You know, that spot where it used to be his elbow, now it's just a giant bag of pus. And fans actually cheered that Cena was going to be out for 4 to 6 months, possibly. And right then and there, that made me embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. Because of the ignorance of those Cena haters out there. Especially those tonight on Monday Night Raw. It was literally embarrassing to be a truly committed wrestling fan for over 25 years and have to sit here and watch that garbage from the wrestling fans on Monday Night Raw tonight. It really pissed me off. Now, of course, he calls Daniel Bryan out here to follow up with what happened on SummerSlam. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Daniel Bryan. He's a great worker. He's got a great gimmick, and it's working for him. But back to the fans on Monday Night Raw, it sounds like every one of those fans want to suck his dick. There's a difference between being over and being overly pushed. Those fans think that Daniel Bryan is being overly pushed. Daniel Bryan is over, don't get me wrong. But those fans tonight on Monday Night Raw were absolutely nuts. And I don't mean in the good way either. I mean in the bad way. You know, we're not talking about East Rutherford, New Jersey after WrestleMania this year. This is worse. But Daniel Bryan attempts to start talking. Stephanie McMahon comes out to kind of intervene and say, you know what, I apologize for my husband's actions, but he was doing for what's right for business, and so on and so forth. And then he gets to the point where Daniel Bryan gets angry. He knocks the microphone out of Stephanie McMahon's hand, and Stephanie calls for security to escort Daniel Bryan out of the building. Fans boo her like crazy, and then again, the fans tonight on Monday Night Raw, I don't put much stock and credibility in just because of the fact they were incredibly ignorant tonight on Monday Night Raw. The way the gimmick panned out, I got to go 4 out of 5 because I thought it was a solid opening despite the ignorance of the fans. And I got to hope for a speedy recovery from John Cena because he needed to take some time off for that surgery because there was only so much more. Again, you know, he was only one shot away from having that giant ball of pus on his arm just burst open, and just you can only imagine what that would look like if that actually happened on TV, having to see that thing just literally explode out of the arm of John Cena. So, anyway, let's get back past that disgusting part. I do feel bad for John Cena because if it's disgusting to look at, can you only imagine what it feels like to have that thing on your arm? Feel bad for the guy. Opening match was a rematch from SummerSlam. Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow. And Lance, looking at this, you know, I just got to question, you know, the placement of this. I could see maybe a rematch on SmackDown. Monday Night Raw might be too soon for a rematch between Rhodes and Damien Sandow. Still being a good match, but I think maybe it just happened too quickly. What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, the only thing I can think of is we don't have anything for these two guys. We forgot to write something. Rematch. That's the only thing I can think of. What went on backstage, maybe.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was a decent match. Don't get me wrong. Finish of the match, King Cody Rhodes did a sunset flip into a pin and pinned Damien Sandow like that, kind of pegging Damien Sandow. You know, he's the Money in the Bank winner, but he's not winning any matches. But Paul Heyman comes out next on Monday Night Raw and with his arm in an arm sling to basically sell the fact that he was in the Anaconda by CM Punk last night at SummerSlam. He comes on and says that he was willing to forgive CM Punk, take him back, and lead him back to glory, lead him back to being the best in the world, lead him back to being WWE champion. And one thing that WWE I think really needs at this point, Will, is more good sustaining storylines. You know, other than the one, the main one that's the focal point for your show, which is the WWE Championship. And right now, this one right now between CM Punk and Paul Heyman is in my personal opinion, a really good storyline, and you just never know where they were going to take it. Because even after watching what Paul Heyman did at that point, Will, we were all scratching our heads wondering, you know, where are they going next with this?
And where do they go next with this? An outraged Punk.
Well,
That is what we got.
we'll talk about CM Punk when he gets out there. But how would you rate that segment with Paul Heyman?
Oh man, I'm sorry. I think that was a perfect 5 on this one. I mean, tempers were flaring. The crowd was into it. I mean, there was no single boo in this segment. I thought this was 5-star work here.
Jaden, I think the next question needs to be asked is, what was the point of the Funkadactyls Layla and AJ Lee match?
So probably help promote the Tell Divas show. Obviously, they need to build more publicity for it. So by advertising the Divas and of course promoting the show, hopefully they'll get more viewers to tune in. And me personally, I like reality TV programs, so I'm kind of a sucker for that. So I'm gonna watch it regardless, obviously to get to know what the divas get up to outside of the wrestling business. Same with some of the superstars, like you see, like obviously Jimmy Uso on there, who's in a relationship with Trinity, aka Naomi. You see John Cena on there. You see Daniel Bryan. Who else do you see on there? You see a good amount of people. I mean, I think you even see Brodus Clay, Tyson Kidd, people like that. I'd like to see a few more faces, though, of course.
Now, the referee in the match nearly botched it again. I mean, we didn't notice one instance when in a match where Natalya had the sharpshooter on AJ Lee, and AJ Lee was tapping out, and the referee was just standing there, looking like an idiot. And at this point, the referee counted the 3 count in the match and waited, I want to say, about almost 5 minutes before ringing the bell. It kind of made that referee look stupid, didn't it?
Just a little bit. Maybe he was hypnotized at what he was looking at. You never know. That could quite easily take your attention off what you're doing. Most of the divas say he's a guy at the end of the day, and I imagine obviously he's straight, so that's probably why. To be honest, his mind wasn't there. He was in a whole different place.
Hashtag that ass.
Exactly.
So, how would you score that out of 5? That match?
The match, with the divas wrestling that goes on in today's wrestling, it's not the same. Like, even if it was just a couple years back or so, when you just had like Beth Phoenix and Melina, Mickey James, like wrestling was solid back then for the women's division. Now it's kind of like toss up between, obviously you have a good wrestler, which is Natalya Neidhart or Natty, what I call her, simple, and obviously you got someone who's as rubbish as I wouldn't say Naomi's rubbish. I'd say Cameron's quite rubbish, despite her being athletic. Obviously, she's not athletic as Naomi. So, I don't know. A lot of divas these days are pretty much the same. As long as they got a pretty face and can maybe do 1 or 2 moves, they'll get a contract. So, I don't know. So, I'd give the match maybe a 3 out of 5.
Now, Dolph Ziggler on his Twitter posted kind of his own response and reactions to what happened with Triple H last night at SummerSlam. So, and Brad Maddox made that apparent. So he books Dolph Ziggler in a 3-on-1 handicap match against the Shield. Now, you would think this would be a basic beatdown of Dolph Ziggler, but it was actually a quite the entertaining match. And at one point, James, we kind of saw Seth Rollins kind of get his knee just blown the hell to pieces.
I want to correct you on something. He did not say it on his Twitter account. He said it on a WWE.com exclusive after Survivor Series. I've seen that.
SummerSlam, buddy.
Yeah, I'm at SummerSlam. Sorry. And yeah, but yeah, that knee, Seth Rollins' knee went down. I'm like, oof. I just hope that really doesn't hurt him, because really, if Seth Rollins is out, basically you're losing a third of the power of the Shield, really. But we obviously knew that the Shield was going to beat Ziggler. And yeah, the ending of the match ended with the spear by Roman Reigns on Ziggler. How he sold it was good. He always sells stuff. Well, I'm not talking about Ziggler like that. Anyway, but yeah, I give the match 3.5 out of 5 because it's really just for the Shield, but that knee, ugh.
Will, is there a Spanish word for something that is extremely repetitive, like Alberto Del Rio versus Sin Cara?
Culero. Culero. And what does that translate to? Asshole.
Well, yeah, because we're going to get Alberto Del Rio versus Sin Cara for about the umpteenth time in the WWE, but something quite unusual happened. On a suicide dive, Sin Cara collided with Del Rio, came down, immediately brought to attention that something was wrong with like his wrist or his hand, and the referee stops the match.
And update, it's a couple broken fingers. A couple of his fingers got out of place, so he's gonna be out.
Oof. Yeah. But anyway, Del Rio next gets on the microphone, says, you know what, he's a hero to the Latino people. Now he's someone that they can be proud of, and Ricardo Rodriguez returns to Monday Night Raw and saying, you know what, you're a liar. You know, you aren't someone that these people should be proud of, but I am proud to represent a new person in the WWE. And a lot of people were thinking, you know, if they were to keep it Latino based, the most logical solution would be Rey Mysterio. Instead, 420 Rob Van Dam. Apparently now they're going to have a feud between Rob Van Dam and Alberto Del Rio, possibly over the World Heavyweight Championship. And with Ricardo Rodriguez, basically now the Latino reincarnation of Bill Alfonso from ECW. I'm very interested to see where they take this. Because, you know, it harkens back to what I was saying earlier. WWE needing good, sustaining storylines other than the main focal point of the WWE Championship. And I gotta say, Rob Van Dam and Alberto Del Rio really piqued my interest. It really has. I'm gonna go 3.75 out of 5. But up next we had the Primetime Players and the Real Americans with their manager Zeb, aka Yosemite Sam Coulter. And of course, Zeb Coulter going in his usual, you know, hate speech to draw heat on him and the Real Americans as usual. And the next thing you know, Primetime Players came out, and I guess ever since they had that huge story, of Darren Young coming out of the closet, apparently that has turned the Primetime Players face just like that, like the snap of your fingers. Do you kind of agree with WWE's direction in that?
Well, of course you had to, because I mean, it's tough for a person like Darren Young to come out to the national world and to the IWC, the positive ones, and say, you know what, I'm gay. And you know what? And I'm going to acknowledge one thing here. Crystal clear, so we don't get no confusion. Let's take this time to thank John Cena for saying what he said on TMZ. You know, good for him. He's a hard worker. You know, nobody thought different about him. You know? But back to the match, of course, you had to put the Primetime Players face, because WWE has been well known for having things backfire in their face. You had no other choice but to do it, and it didn't stop him and Titus Young from putting on their best performance and first time as a face. I mean, it was a good match. I'll rate it a 3, and you know, I was almost shocked that the crowd gave a little bit of cheers to the Real Americans, but at the end, Primetime Players won, and I hope that this doesn't mess up or tarnish Darren Young's career. But overall, good match, stellar 3 on my part.
Well, up next, apparently the Big Show also had some thoughts about Triple H's actions, and of course, here comes Brad Maddox and puts the Big Show against the Shield once again. Now, Jaden, in your personal opinion, after witnessing what happened with Seth Rollins and the fact that he quite obviously blew his knee out in this match
Yeah.
against Dolph Ziggler, do you think it was a very wise move on WWE's part to put him back out there after just witnessing something like that?
I believe, you know, obviously someone backstage gave him the heads up, you know, to obviously go on an attack, but lay off a little bit. But then again, that would have been a bit too obvious to the crowd. So obviously he soldiered it out. And what I mean by that is, you know, he manned up, he got tough again. And yeah, he took a chance, obviously, with his, obviously him tweaking his knee. I don't know if he's injured. Hopefully not, like one of your mates was saying here, because that would obviously put the Shield at a disadvantage with a member missing. But from where it looks like, obviously, and we'll get to it later, the Shield seems to be working with the McMahons now. So it's kind of, you know, it's an interesting swerve here. And I've always heard like rumors going around the internet saying that Randy Orton's going to be like the leader of the Shield and all this other crazy stuff. So, you know, I'm interested to see what's to come. And of course, I'm happy that Randy Orton's the heel again because as a face, he's very stout. But yeah, getting back to the topic in hand, obviously Seth Rollins, yeah, it wasn't a wise move, obviously, to put him in that position and to have them wrestle yet another match. And hopefully, yeah, he never sustained too much of an injury, and hopefully it's just like a little tweak. And by a week or two, he'd be all right. Hopefully.
And just like with Dolph Ziggler, the Shield triple power bombs the Big Show to victory. And how would you rate that match, Jaden?
I'd rate that match. You know what? It was actually a really good match. I'll give it a 4, to be honest. I don't know about everybody else. What do you guys think? It's a pretty solid match, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially the fact that Big Show was debuting also yet new ring gear, but Big Show seems to be really looking good for a guy his size and his age. He's getting back into shape.
He's looking lean. If anyone saw his Twitter picture, I think it's that WWE Big Show or something, where he's flexing, his arms look a lot more lean, and lean being obviously he's a lot more cut, less body fat percentage. Big Show's obviously, the time that he spent away from the ring, he's obviously took his diet in serious, and he's got a lot more in shape in comparison to what he was before. Because if you saw him just before he got injured, he was a lot more out of shape. Of course, yeah, he's still carrying body fat, but a guy at his height and his size and his age, it's really difficult, to be a clean cut athlete, 6-pack abs, all that shit. So, I mean, for what Big Show looks like now, he's done well for himself, and he looks impressive against the Shield, and that was a good match, and I like the finish as well.
Definitely. Now, up next, guys and gals, we saw CM Punk make his way to the ring, and apparently there was a fan at ringside that booed him, and it just set CM Punk off, and it almost got to the point that CM Punk was censored a couple of times during that little speech he made to the fan, and was actually daring the fan to get into the ring and walk a mile in his shoes because guaranteed he wouldn't make him boo, he would make him cry. And I think I'm being kind as I can as to the little interpretation as to what CM Punk was saying. And at one point I thought they were just going to cut straight to commercial break and pull CM Punk out of there, because that just I don't know about you, James, but when I was just looking at that, I was just scratching my head like, what in the world is going on?
I'm like, damn. But here's the thing. Let's going back to like what the reports was about, like superstars and fans getting in a fight. I think CM Punk is feel like, okay, I can't take this no more. I want to pick a fight with some random guy in the fan. You want to boo? Get in this ring. Oh, and I'm like, wow, pipe bomb.
But anyway, where it goes next is Paul Heyman comes out. Now CM Punk does apologize, but he apologizes that he says he's sorry that he didn't rip Paul Heyman's arm off at SummerSlam. He's sorry that he didn't break his jaw and knock him out and then squeeze the life out of him. And he swears the next time he gets his hands on him, he's going to do just that. And Paul Heyman says, you know what? I am not the fat guy in the front row. And I think that was kind of funny that they were kept referencing that poor schmuck that started to
Right.
boo CM Punk. But CM Punk, Curtis Axel gets instructed to go put the tape on his hands because he was going to be in a fight, and out comes Curtis Axel, who thinks Paul Heyman's behind him as he was taking off the Intercontinental title strap. Didn't bother to look behind him until about 5 steps too late. But anyway, he ended up just dropping it. And next thing you know, they start fighting. And at one point, it looked like Curtis Axel had the upper hand, and CM Punk, it went back and forth. And at one point, it got into the outside where CM Punk was just repeatedly driving Curtis Axel into the steel steps, and they pretty much just end the segment like that. And
He did kind of like a version of the go to sleep, but instead of the knee, he used the steps.
yeah, but Let's just say this though, James. Thank God that CM Punk did not turn around and lock eyes with the fat guy in the front row, because then I think it would have been CM Punk, the WWE, that venue, and that guy having a whole lot of problems.
Yeah. Anybody say legal battle?
Again.
Again? Yeah, but I guess but yeah. Yeah, what you said is like, he was close to the guy. I'm like, oh shit. If he turns around and see that fat guy, oh lord. Somebody call my mama, somebody call the security, the FBI, the CIA. Nobody's gonna stop Punk from being that guy up.
Your score for that segment?
5 out of 5 for bringing back a style of doing the whole calling out random people like how they did in WCW. I just love it. The fight was 4 out of 5.
Well, up next we had the TV debut of Bray Wyatt in the ring taking on R-Truth, and I don't know, Lance. One thing that you made mention of during the actual matchup when we were watching is the fact that it looked like R-Truth was phoning it in.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I'll put up a little, but basically he was sent out there to just get his ass whipped. Honestly, long story short, it was just like he didn't put. We all know how R-Truth dances a little bit in his matches when he's putting effort in. Didn't see any of that tonight. So, yeah. Basically, you could tell he was just sent out there to get the hell beat out of
him. Your score?
Well, 2.5 out of 5. Wasn't bad, wasn't good, just was.
That's pretty much all we can say is it was. Up next, we had the Usos taking on 3MB in the form of Heath, Slater, and Jinder Mahal. And let me just say this. A bottle of water can be put over on 3MB. Eugene can be put over on 3MB. I could be put over on 3MB. A great YouTuber from the past, but a man by the name of Dashing Kevin Walsh, he can be put over on 3MB. Anybody can be put over on 3MB.
My 4-year-old niece could be put over on 3MB.
Drew McIntyre didn't look like, there were a lot of reports about what happened with Alberto Del Rio and Drew McIntyre, especially about the whole bar incident. And, Del Rio, basically got effed up in the face. It's plain as day. But you got to pull for the guy. Despite, getting, beat up in a bar, he was still out there, doing what he does best and being a professional wrestler and being a world heavyweight champion. And so, the guy kind of earns my props for that. But, looking at his left eye, and just, when it opened up, I was like, ow, 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 ow. But Drew McIntyre, from what we've read, he came in and tried to help out Del Rio as can. He really doesn't look like he was in that much of a bar fight, but, as big as Drew McIntyre is, there probably aren't that many guys that want to put their hands on him, so. But then again, Taryn Terrell pretty much kicked his ass, but that's a whole story for a whole nother time. 3.5 out of 5 on this one. I thought it was mildly entertaining, but I was just sitting there thinking, what was the point? Up next, we had Miz taking on Wade Barrett. This is basically another matchup in the encounter of these two, also dating back to, the WrestleMania pre-show when the Miz and Wade Barrett were feuding over the Intercontinental title. Now, in this matchup, I would have to say, James, this is kind of had the filler feeling to it, wouldn't you say?
Miss Way Barrett, yes. I mean, how many times do you see The Miz versus Wade Barrett in the last few months, really? But, it kind of also had a purpose, too. because the ending of the match, when Miz locked in the finger four out of nowhere, Fandango came off the top rope and hit his patented leg drop. Why the crowd did Fandangoing? They're still in the U.S. I don't know. Maybe those WrestleMania crowds came in, sneak back into the arena.
Jaden, is there a reason why Fandangoing is so big over in the UK?
I suppose it's because over here, as you guys call it soccer, or as we call it football for the most part of the world, there's a lot of like hooligans and just fans of the sport, and they like anything that's like a chant, like a chant that will get going, and obviously with Fandango song, like that all that, it's obviously we're gonna take a liking to it because that's usually something that we usually do, like stuff that's similar to that when we go see a football game, or as you guys would put it, a soccer game. So that's probably why it took such an appeal over here and such a big liking in most European countries.
James, your score for Miz and Wade Barrett?
I'll give it a 2. As I said, I kind of knew there was a purpose because of SummerSlam, how Miz knocked the living fuck out of Fandango, and then Fandango gets his revenge doing his patented leg drop on the top.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the finale of Monday Night Raw this week featured Vince McMahon, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon in the ring, the entire WWE locker room on the stage, of course, with the Shield protecting the McMahon-Helmsley Corporation. As Triple H was trying to explain his actions from SummerSlam, saying that he didn't, he personally liked and was a fan of Daniel Bryan, but it wasn't good for business for him to be WWE champion. He was doing this for everyone's future, and he saw a future and the new WWE champion Randy Orton. Randy Orton comes out next says, he's not one for saying thank you, but he thanked Triple H for his actions. And then they were still waiting for Daniel Bryan to come out, and as soon as he does, he gets attacked by the Shield, and at one point Triple H stops him before they were trying to do the triple power bomb, and Daniel Bryan was struggling to get in the ring, as Triple H was kind of taunting him in a sense to get in there, making him angrier and angrier. And as soon as he got into the ring, he was RKO'd by Randy Orton. And that's pretty much how they ended the show, like that, with I guess the word being true about the feud between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan, basically being written right here and there. And well, I gotta ask you for your thoughts as you were watching this whole situation taking place between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan.
Well, not much was really coming from my head on this one, but I did sense a little bit of an old 1998/1999 thing we call the corporation versus whoever else went against them. So yeah, but back to the regular thing at hand. I was shocked as much as us here on this call or anybody else, the smart ones in the IWC. I mean, I see the storyline a lot more intriguing as it goes forward. And what Orton said, if nobody's seen this coming, well, you know what? Half of us were probably, oh, yes, we did not see this coming, but for some who were 2-3 steps forward on us, then it was by far, I think, very, very strategic in mind. But I mean, I can't wait for how long this progresses. I hope at least by Royal Rumble. I would have to give this whole segment at least another stellar 3. But I hope down the line, I hope something intriguing progresses between now and Survivor Series, maybe end up at Royal Rumble. But we'll see as it progresses.
Ladies and gentlemen, my overall score for the follow-up show to SummerSlam for Monday Night Raw I have to go 4 out of 5. I thought it was a very decent show. A lot of twists and turns. A lot of fans were wondering, questioning the actions of Triple H. Why did he do what he did to Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam? And trying to answer all these questions. And and I gotta say, I'm very intrigued where they go next with Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. And the ignorant Cena haters out there, just to hate because they think hating's cool, you guys need to fuck off, seriously. I mean, I really don't know what else to say, but, you think you know more about the wrestling business just because you hate Cena. People who like Cena don't know anything. I hate to burst your bubble, Cena haters, but I'm a wrestling fan for 25 years. I've been running my YouTube channel for about 2.5, 3 years. And I've been reviewing and critiquing wrestling for over 5 years. And I'm in the wrestling industry myself as a commentator. I gotta say, my credentials kind of outweigh your little bitty ones of running a Facebook page. Just saying. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to find out everyone's picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week. As far as my best match for Monday Night Raw this week, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I have to go with The Shield and Dolph Ziggler. I thought this was, a lot more entertaining than I thought it could be. It actually, anything involving Dolph Ziggler in a match, and the fact that he has this incredible ability to, really emphasize a lot of the big moves and a lot of the big bumps that you would normally see in the ring and just captivate the wrestling audience in that manner. I gotta give it to the guy. Even though this was 3 Shield members against 1 Dolph Ziggler, I gotta say Ziggler was the one who kind of carried the match and made the match good. So that's why I gotta pick that for best match of the night. My worst segment of the night this week on Monday Night Raw. Right back making a guy fill up his duffel bag with water in the shower? Again, just like I said on SummerSlam. Why? That's all I gotta say. That's all I can say. Is why? You have a Be a Star campaign, that promotes anti-bullying.
What are you doing, Tess?
And you have Ryback basically being the Bully Ray of the WWE. I don't get it. Anyway, let's go to Lance first and get his overall score on Monday Night Raw and find out his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw. Lance, your thoughts on champion and jobbers of the night?
4 out of 5 for score. And honestly, my best segment, that whole Punk Heyman part right there. And the worst, because it just kind of sounded like he threw everything in one big old pot and didn't properly space it out. The first segment, because it's like, okay, we're going to have Cena leave the company for about 6 months, 4 to 6 months, right? Which to me should have been its own segment in itself. Somebody that big leaves, you give them their own segment. Not a Cena fan, but still, didn't they get this whole long Daniel Bryan, Stephanie McMahon thing? But all that together kind of gave me a okay reaction. Y'all know? So that's my worst.
Alright, well, let's go to Will next and find out his overall score for Monday Night Raw and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week. Will, your thoughts on champion and jobber of the night?
Alright, overall Raw, I'll give it a 4. Best segment was CM Punk putting that fat kid back in that little cheap chair for booing him. I thought that was funny. I mean, We're not going to see that again for a while. Worst segment? Yeah, I'm agreed on this one, Billy. The Ryback, I thought WWE was going to be a star campaign. Don't be a bully nonsense. I mean, is WWE stuck on the hypocritical times? I mean, really. And again, I'm just gonna say it this way. I don't know where WWE is getting off putting Ryback as the bully, and you're going out and doing all this. Should be shot. Uh, Best match: Dolph Ziggler versus The Shield. Worst match: Miz versus Barrett. And give props to the crowd. I mean, yeah, just like it's like the same night after WrestleMania all over again.
All right, let's go to James next and find out his overall score on Monday Night Raw and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw.
4 out of 5. You know, every time we come off a pay-per-view and we have a Raw, I think it's been good Raws after pay-per-view. Maybe except for maybe Money in the Bank, but overall it was like great Raw. My champion of the night has to be CM Punk putting that fan in his place. I have said it since we saw that, and I said it on the call. This is automatic champion of the night for me. Jobber of the night? It's a tie, actually, for me. We obviously know that the higher of the tie goes to Ryback and that poor guy. My co-jobber, I hate to say it, but the Divas match. I didn't get into it. It's just to hype up the Total Divas than anything.
Okay, and finally, ladies and gentlemen, our guest for this week on Monday Night Raw, Jaden. We go to him next and find out his overall score from Monday Night Raw and his picks for best and worst match or segment for Monday Night Raw. Jaden, your thoughts for champion and jobber of the night?
Okay, first of all, the show I thought was a solid show. So same with the rest of you lot. I'd say a 4 out of 5. Jobber of the night, I'm gonna go with 3MB. Can they be counted? Yeah. As a collective. Champion of the night, obviously Punk. It was funny when he buried that fat guy in the front row. I don't know what that guy was thinking. Some of the fans get brave. It's not like the old days where they'd actually jump the barricades like idiots and throw their life away. But yeah, never challenge CM Punk to a battle, especially like between a war of words, because Punk's like one of the best at doing that. Still is probably the best in the company right now, to be honest, on the microphone. So I'd say the match of the night, yeah, Ziggler against the Shield. I have to agree with that. That was a pretty interesting matchup, and he held his own, and then obviously finally got laid out. And then the worst match of the night would be the Divas match. I was pretty plain, and it feels like it's the same thing all the time, even though, fair enough, you see Barrett face Miz all the time, but you know, they're still two decent workers, and Barrett needs a freaking push. That's all I can say. I don't know if they got something against English people, but it seems like any good English wrestler has been fucked over in that company. British Bulldog, William Regal, Barrett, fucking, I can throw so many names in there. Paul Burchill, anyone that's a decent worker over this side of the pond, do you know what I'm saying? They get messed up when they go over there, so... I don't know. I just want to see a British world champion one day. I don't know about you lot. I'm sure you're not too bothered, but for me, it's kind of a big deal. So yeah, that's what I've got to say on the show.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to know now from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week. What was your champion and jobber of the night? What was your picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw? We want to hear from you guys out there. Be sure to put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Lance, what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on youtube.com/LanceMossTV?
Album reviews, wrestling reviews, NASCAR reviews, and whatever else pops into my head.
When he's always cleaning his ducks over at the Who Dat Temple, James and the Big Easy, and the purveyor of endless duck tacos over on the hood on Instagram. It's the Bay Area MVP known as Will. Guys, what you got coming up?
I guess the joke is always going to stay within the bounds of James's dome. Well, jokes aside, no, but football and more of the same thing. Just wrestling, football, and summer's almost over, folks. James.
Yep. As we said, that we will be doing football picks when the season starts, and we may have it do a review here, but we will be live on the Instagib or Ron Live, and it's going to be his username is Bay Area MVP. I'm Fatboy504.
All right, fans, also don't forget to please like the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/WGS-TV. And also don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network. So for the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV, our two Instagib game show gurus, James and the Big Easy and the Bay Area MVP, known as well, and our special guest reviewer this week, Jaden. I'm the Wrestle Gamer, Double B Billy Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching. Tonight's Monday Night Raw review has been brought to you by James and Big Easy's brand new charity, Chair Shots for IWC John Cena hating marks.
You know, I got nothing to say. That's actually a good charity.
Stoke Artist. Stoke Artist. Stoke Artist. Stoke Artist. Spiritual speaking. Stoke Artist. Stoke Artist. I'm Haley Ring Rose. Stoke Artist.
My name's Andrew Weatherall.
Spiritual speaking. Stoke Artist.